Yo, what is going on, internet? I wanted to make this video and talk about the SpaceX IPO that happened on Friday, June 12th. Everyone seems to be losing their mind about this IPO and this company and Elon Musk and all these crazy things about it. So I wanted to make this video, do a little bit of a deep dive into not only the IPO itself, but just some of the unforeseen or not really so much talked about points that if you're considering buying the company today, maybe, or if you are someone who actively manages their own investments, just some points to consider that are going to be happening this year and beyond. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about is the actual price discovery that the stock market is currently undergoing with SpaceX. So for those of you that maybe were following the details of the IPO, SpaceX offered a $135 per share. And that basically means that was the IPO price just before the first trade was actually printed on Friday. So for those of you that got shares allocated, that's what you got it at, a $135 price, which puts the company at about at that time, it was about, I think, roughly a 1.75 trillion valuation, which is absolutely insane. Now, to jump a little bit more into some analysis, so Morningstar, which is one of the most respected financial research firms out there, had an article, and I will put all the links to all the articles that I referenced in this video in the description, has the fair value, I believe, at around $80 billion. So that's significantly less. And that would put the share price at around $65 a share. So that is something to note as well. And it's a very key data point that as trading continues, the market and the people and the investors that are currently trading on it haven't really figured out yet just what SpaceX is worth today. And that is something that it's going to take some time. We're going to have to wait and see not only the company trades, but how well or how poorly their earnings are throughout Q2, 3, and 4 this year. And that's something that I don't think the market is fully priced in yet. But if you're thinking about buying, especially buying today, you just may want to hold and wait for another opportunity, or at least just wait and see how the market reacts to the upcoming earnings cycle that's near. And I think the key consideration today is that retail investors are really buying into the hype and less of the fundamentals of the company. So just keep that in mind if you're considering hitting that buy order and going in on the name. Time will tell, but the market needs to actually discover what SpaceX is currently worth, and that's going to take some time. Okay, jumping into point number 2 here, and this is something that happens every single day in the stock market. It happens all the time, but who are you really playing against? And for those of us that are maybe retail investors or everyday, view and chill folks, the stock market is full of massive institutions and wealthy trusts and whatever, the Elon Musks of the world and the Jeff Bezos, who have so much money that they can actually genuinely influence the price of a company's stock. And that is something that if you're going into a name like SpaceX and there's been so much hype and talk, understand that big companies out there that have a lot more money than you and me are going to be buying and selling, for that matter, into these names. And we'll get to that in a moment. So just to focus on the buy side of things. So there's about 21, according to my research, banks that actually underwrote this IPO. So Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, just to name a few. And those companies got early share allocation, and so do their clients too. So just keep in mind that those big names have a lot of money and now own a lot of SpaceX. So keep that in mind just on the buy side. On the other side, early investors could be private equity or heck, even the employees themselves. We'll get to that in a moment. But especially big private equity firms that owned SpaceX before the IPO are going to, in all likelihood, in the next couple of months, sell and liquidate all their shares. And what that will do is it will definitely see a large decrease in the price of SpaceX over the next couple of months. May not happen all at once, may not happen all in one day, but it will be kind of a gradual sell-off. And I think that will come, again, likely all happening, sometime between now and Christmas time. So just keep that in mind. A lot of times you'll hear this phrase, you may see headline that the retail investor is the exit liquidity for the private market investor. And while that's true, it's maybe a little harsh, but that is unfortunately the reality of the stock market. So just keep that in mind, that you're not playing on a level playing field. It's a top heavy market. Big firms are looking for retail investors who's willing to buy at a premium so they can offload their shares to you. So keep that in mind. Okay, so and I kind of alluded to this before, but when a big company goes public like this, all of the employees who have been with the company for 10, 15, 20 years who have equity are getting ready to become millionaires. And while that's a fantastic, amazing thing, they are going to absolutely sell their shares and go retire and live a wonderful life away from the crazy world of space and AI, most likely. Who knows what they'll do. But to get into the actual details here. So a standard IPO has what we call a lockup period. So that's a period of time before an individual at a company can sell. It's normally around 180 days. However, SpaceX did something different this time. They had a sort of a staggered lockup period. So the first release where employees can sell 20% of their shares is after the Q2 earnings that SpaceX will do. So that's going to likely be somewhere between July and September of this year. And that, while it doesn't seem like a lot, will likely also cause a share price to decrease later into the summer. Think about it this way: the employee that started in 2006 that has 30, 40, 50,000 shares, whatever it may be, at $5 a share, is getting ready to become multimillionaire. I'm not really sure whatever they got paid, but they're ready to make bank. So to kind of think about it this way, and as of this recording, SpaceX is in its third day of trading. It's at $201 a share. So whatever price it's going to be in the next couple of months, understand that there's a wave of insiders and early employees who have been waiting years for this moment and are ready to hit that sell button come later this summer and around Christmas time this year as well. So just keep in mind, while these things don't really seem like they have an impact, they absolutely will if you're considering buying into SpaceX. Now, another consideration too, especially for really any of single stock trading or buying or any of even of the other upcoming IPOs with Anthropic or OpenAI, if you're going to buy into single names, understand that you should go in with a thesis on an exit price and be willing to hit that sell button when it hits that price, whether it's the right time or not, because ultimately at the end of the day, SpaceX really doesn't have solid business fundamentals yet compared to other massive companies out there. Over time, it unequivocally will get there, right? It will definitely see revenue growth and all those wonderful things that make up a multi-trillion-dollar company, but it's not there today. So understand that people right now are trading on hype and momentum, not fundamentals. And I think there will be a point in time where that does change. As a rule of thumb, and just maybe something that I personally do, my own investments, think more long term in how you're positioning yourself with SpaceX or really any investing in general, right? Again, this isn't investment advice, but just be cognizant of the fact that this price could fluctuate big time and that your money may be better well spent buying a low cost index fund like a VU or a QQQM or something like that. Now, as I said earlier, I don't think SpaceX is a bad company. Very well could be the one company that goes off and changes the world, and in 20 years we're all flying around in the USS Enterprise. Who knows? But if you're thinking about buying today, just understand that the price matters even more. And right now, what the public is being asked to pay is extremely expensive. We haven't seen enough data yet to justify the price and where it's at today. In the next couple months, there's going to be a ton of employees and big companies who are ready to cash out, take profits, and go buy an island somewhere in the Caribbean. Because why not? They just won the lottery, right? So just keep these things in mind if you're thinking about buying or thinking about waiting. Would love to hear where your head's at, and would love to see if maybe you got some IPO shares and what you're planning on doing with them. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.